Hey kids, do you like professional wrestling? Well, we enjoy professional wrestling too. This is Shake Them Ropes on the busiest week in professional wrestling history. I am Jeff Hawkins. He is Chris Novembrino. Chris, are you ready to go through 7+ days of what has to have been, since the history of this show, the busiest week of professional wrestling?
It is kind of mind-numbing how many headlines are on this page in front of me. It hurts my. I remember all these things happening, and I thought like the first topic alone was enough to make up like a decent little chat section of the show, and then these stories just kept on coming and coming and coming. So. Yeah, I'm ready. It's the end of my day. I after this,
And the
I can
defeated sounds of Chris
after this,
Novembrino.
I can like cry and sleep, and that usually paves me for hours.
I've been drinking Palomas all day, so I am ready for this. A very nice combination of grapefruit soda and tequila and lime juice. It's very, very nice. But when last week, there will be no lazy river this week. It's just going to be going through
It's
this
just
week.
the river. It's just the river.
Just the river, I guess. But when you last heard Shake Them Ropes, we had logged off on New Year's Eve, relaxed, kind of confident in doing a good job. And then Big Swole decided to do an interview. Actually, she had done this the day before, talking about her release from AEW, and Tony Khan decided to comment on it because, look, in addition to other points that were, I believe, somewhat justified, Big Swole kind of insinuated that AEW's racist or that she didn't get opportunities based on race. And so Tony Khan decided he had to defend himself and then ended it with a plug for Rampage. And also, by the way, Big Swole's not a very good wrestler. And I just slammed my head. Look, here, I will give my opinion, then we'll throw it to you, Chris. Number one, Tony Khan needs to say nothing. Just needs to say absolutely nothing. It doesn't matter if he's justified in his defense of his company. Number one, he shouldn't be the face of his company. Number two, you are a child of some privilege. You are a guy who doesn't really know wrestling. You're a guy who books wrestling. You have all the power here. Just let it go, dude. And keep the relationship as good as you can, because you never know if you're going to need to call her up and she might improve, whatever. For me, the Big Swole comments, other than the racial thing, were more interesting than the racial thing. To be honest with you, I just think Swole didn't know what she was getting into when she signed with this company. It's kind of the difference between a first-round draft pick and a fifth-round draft pick in the NFL. And I think she thought that everybody being signed in that wave of, for lack of a better term, inclusionary, they went on a big round of new and inclusionary. They were marketing it as such. And hey, we're going to be this kind of organization, blah, 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 blah. And she's upset they didn't make her a star. And I get that. That's a bit of a sore subject. You look at her pro fight DB, she won like 16 of her last 18 matches. But let's talk about this for a second. There were people who were made coming into AEW. Most of the executive vice presidents, et cetera, et cetera. The women's division already was started poorly because of what Kenny Omega did here. But also, you didn't have a lot of people who knew how to, quote unquote, create a star week by week in the professional wrestling industry. So some people had to kind of, I think, take a chance on a promo or something like that, and they didn't. And I think, I tend to think from listening to Swole that she thought there was a plan here. There's a plan here to make me a star, and they're going to walk me through it, and they're going to guide me through it. And there was no guide there. First round draft picks are uber talented. They get lots of money and they get lots of reps on the field. Fifth round draft picks have to work their ass off to make the team. And then they have to improve to prove that they can get the time on the field. I just think she thought everybody signed was a first round pick, and she wasn't. This is no disrespect to her. I just think it was not knowing what you didn't know in some ways, Chris.
Yeah. So there's a lot to unpack with this whole debacle. I think when we start with Swole, I concur with you broadly speaking. Look, I saw Swole's run here in AEW, and to borrow a word from The Simpsons, it was perfectly cromulent. There was nothing remarkable about what she does in the ring. And while I get that she has like a niche appeal thing, when we're talking about putting the belt on someone and doing a long form multi-month belt push, which is, let's be real here. I think having watched what happened with Kofi Kingston, having watched what happened with Big E Langston, I think it's pretty clear the type of people who want to see Big Swole get belted also want to see Big Swole go through a multiple month, multiple title defense push.
Mhm.
And I think that would be the only right answer for this sort of angle. So then it gets to the practical. Can Big Swole carry 20, 30-minute matches as the best person in the ring, which is what the job is as the head of the division? And to my eyes, for my entertainment value, I don't know about wrestling. I can't do an arm drag. I've taken a few reverse DDTs from my friends when I was 16. But to my eyes, I'm not interested in watching Big Swole carry 30-minute matches where she's the best worker in the ring, and that is the name of the job. And so I think that her vision that she is owed a push or at a talent level where she deserves a push at this echelon, I think is not realistic. And I think also not realistic is the idea that it is AEW's job to build Big Swole's talent level from where she is presently at to the requirements of that, especially when you have someone like Britt Baker, who had never had this level of a main event push at this point and still needed to be made at this point and was ready to be made. And we've seen the proof is in the pudding. Britt Baker's a fantastic wrestler. However you want to slice it. I think that now we need to pivot to Tony Khan's tweet. So everything about the tweet's awful.
Yes.
Awful. It's really, 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 really bad. It's stupid and bad and dumb and poorly worded. And the idea that at the end of like a bit of commentary about race and all that stuff, oh, by the way, tune in to Rampage. Yeah, no, Tony, go away. Tony, go away. And I have been saying for months there's been too much Tony Khan. Way before people were on there's too much Tony. Oh, Hawkins there too. Hawkins there too. This is a minority opinion, though. It's a minority
Yes, it
opinion.
is.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's saying, I love TK. No, I could totally see where this was going with TK this whole way down.
It's quickly
Guy's
becoming...
got thin skin. He's
quickly
surrounded
becoming...
by yes men, as these type of people are. And yes, go ahead. It's quickly becoming.
TK presents AEW.
Yes. And it was like it that first time he decided to come on camera, right? He couldn't help himself.
Yes.
He needed to right the wrongs. He needed to be the hero in front of the audience. No, too much TK. TK didn't need to address this here. I don't really ever need to address it, period. But I'll go one step further. I think the one place where TK did himself some trouble here is that months ago he said that Big Swole, when he released her, oh, she's a fantastic wrestler or whatever. And like I'm with you too. You gotta leave the door open to work with her again or whatever. But I think there's got to be a way for Khan, when he is releasing people who are kind of the mid-tier, making up kind of the middle of the sandwich in the division, to sort of indicate like, look, we like to have various toppings in the middle of the sandwich at different times. Like the stuff, like it's rather than sort of imply, well, she's a world league talent. I can't, no. Like I think there's a way to more diplomatically address this. And then last, I will bring up the way Tony Khan was defending the racial diversity while not unfactual, comes off as sort of gobbledygookish and non-sequitorial at times.
It's not a fight you can win, no matter even if you are a minority. So, because this is more a class thing than anything as well with Tony Khan. So, just walk away. I mean, Swole, look, in Swole's defense also, there weren't a lot of indies she could book to get a little bit more seasoning, to get longer matches. Now she's going to have that chance with wrestling opening back up. But yeah, this is fighting with a pig. In terms of that thing, you go in the mud.
That's not my favorite metaphor.
Okay, never mind. But you know what I mean. It's one of those things where it's like you're getting dirty, and the only one that likes it.
I get what you're trying to say.
Yes, I'm
absolutely.
Okay. It's he called her. No, he didn't. Okay, let's just move on. SmackDown. I have no notes for it. I'm moving on.
You killed my light, Shaw Hawkins. Yes, no, I have no notes on SmackDown. It was a show that happened.
Rampage was insane with this tag team street fight between Penelope Ford and the Bunny versus Ty Conti and Anna Jay, where four blondes became four non-blondes. Hey, what's going on? Ty Conti, don't do this to me. I hate that song. Penelope Ford decides to do a moonsault flip down to a table that Anna Jay's on, and it doesn't break. It doesn't break. Anna Jay's the Bunny's blading like a champ. Anna Jay puts fake barbed wire, but something with a barb on it around her arm. Nevertheless, this thing, number one, over delivered, but was absolutely preposterous at the same time. That's the only word I could use for it.
Yeah, right. It's the level of work is not commensurate with the angle. And yeah, no, it over delivered, but like
people think we stink. Let's try and kill each other here.
Yeah, it over delivered. Like if Dolph Ziggler had one of those weird Memphis street fights with all the instruments or whatever that wildly over delivers. You go, okay, that over delivered, but like, what did that deliver?
Exactly. That was Ty Conti, the final shot, is just laughing on the floor. It's like, all right, look, keep character while we're all trying to keep in here. But I watched this. I go, my God, somebody's going to die in AEW doing this. Between this and Jeff Hardy landing that one time in the Guevara match where he took off the ladder and he splat on his head. It's like, guys, let's save stuff for the pay-per-view. Okay. Rampage doesn't have to be that kind of show. It was just insane. Moving on. Also Friday night, New Year's Eve, Matt Cardona and Chelsea Green got married in Vegas. Now, why is this on the rundown? Well, it affected the rest of the shows the rest of the week. Why, Chris? COVID. Cody, part of the wedding, out. Part of Battle of the Belts. The Inspiration and Rachel Ellering both test positive. They were out for a Hard to Kill this evening, which I watched as well. Yeah. Don't know if it was at the wedding because Cardona, Chelsea Green, Deonna Purrazzo, Steve Macklin were all there, and we're all part of the pay-per-view tonight. So you can't say it was necessarily a super spreader event, but Chris,
if it walks like a duck, talks like a duck, and sounds like a super spreader event, it might very well be a super spreader event. Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. Some of the people you listed off to were also at the infamous Ricochet party last year, correct?
Yes, I believe that was at the Purrazzo Macklin residence, or it was at the Cardona residence. I can't remember which one, but yes.
Right. Well, I mean, especially at that point, like you can, if I'm reading in between the lines, or certainly let's just assume I am a wrestler on one of these shows and I don't know these people particularly well, but I also know those two discrete points of information. At this point, I would be really, really reticent to work with these people if I didn't know their vaccination status, because it seems like they're a little bit reckless when it comes to COVID safety. And the fact that they keep seeming to find themselves in these predicaments is alarming. You know, I get it. I get keeping these people off the show.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to Saturday, WWE's new quote unquote event spectacular. What did they call it? They called it something like a premiere event. That's what the terminology was used.
No, a premium event.
Thank you for correcting me there, ombudsman Chris. Yeah, no, it's
no. You really got to get the nomenclature right for your sports entertainment.
Yes, in what they are sure to be a holiday tradition for the WWE. Day one, going up against great college football, which I watched instead, but then I came back to this. But anyways, Roman Reigns announcing earlier in the day he had tested positive for COVID and was out of the event. That was the least of their worries here, as Ridge Holland got a broken nose via Ricochet in the pre-show tag match between Ricochet and Cesaro and Sheamus and Ridge Holland. That poor guy can't catch a break at times. Becky and Liv had a fairly decent women's title match on the Raw side. The problem was the ending was completely botched when Becky couldn't reach the ropes to tag, and so they just moved on with it. And now they're going to move on to a triple threat where Liv doesn't deserve it, Doudrop doesn't deserve it, and Bianca Belair deserves it, but now she's saddled with these two for a match. It should be interesting. And then, of course, we need something to do with Brock Lesnar because we're paying him way too much, and he flew down already, so they put him in this fatal five-way, and he won the title. He won the belt on the other show by defeating the other four people, and look, it was a decent match. There was wrestling up and down that was pretty good on this entire show. The New Day and the Usos can't do any wrong, quite frankly. I just thought it was a less than stellar goodbye to the Big E title reign, to be honest with you. But that's me, and they have their plans, and they're going to go on with them.
I mean, it's not just a less than stellar goodbye to the Big E title reign. It's a less than stellar title reign for Big E. And this is a guy who really was due to be made here in this run. And because it's been so long in the making, it makes you really worry that this guy will never get past this ceiling. And it just seems like such an unbelievable crime for having watched this guy since he was still Dolph Ziggler's side item. And to watch him develop from that, show signs and flashes of like real brilliance and real intensity and a real ability to carry things, for them to finally put the belt on him and to have him lose it in this sort of weird, unceremonious way with like no clear heat or anything and no real desire for the chase. Oh man, it sucks. I don't want to say that Roman was the least of their worries on this show. I mean, Ridge Holland's a problem, but like, you know, I don't know how much they had for Ridge Holland. I know they wanted to do something with him, but like, you know, Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns. Same thing with Liv Morgan. Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns. I think the COVID thing too is alarming. And this is the other part of, you know, why do they need to sort of try to contain this in the locker room? Long COVID and the associated conditions with long COVID can affect, you know, it's not going to affect everyone.
Well, Roman's issues are
he also has right, but like I'm still saying this broadly.
Yes.
You know, even if he didn't have the leukemia thing, let's say Roman Reigns has long COVID and is unable to go beyond 10 minutes. Now he is no longer a main event title.
That's
so like,
true.
you know, if you're a wrestler, you do have to be kind of worried about this COVID thing because, you know, let's suppose you're vaccinated and everything. I am, but like, I'm still worried that I could get long COVID. And I'm just sluggish, that the tiredness comes and goes in waves. And this is a job, wrestling, where, you know, tiredness coming, going in waves.
Yes.
Is
Cardio
is thousands of dollars.
We saw this issue with Roman as well when he came back from leukemia and he couldn't go for a while. Yeah, I botched the wording on that. I said least of the worries, and that wasn't what I meant by that.
No, I wasn't trying to. It was like the first.
No, but you're correct in calling me out on that, quite frankly. But I was just saying I meant it was the first of their worries.
and I guess this as from a business mindset is why I do think every wrestler should really be taking this coronavirus seriously. Is that like it? The hospitalization rates, yes, sure, it's like 1 out of 100. That's actually still pretty high. I'd be worried about that. But the long COVID and sort of the broader impacts, basically what I'm saying is a lot of bad things can happen and you don't have to go to the hospital. And you can have a lot of long-term side effects that you don't need to go to the hospital for. And for wrestlers, that can be money.
Yeah. Continuing on in this weekend, Sunday, at a house show in North Carolina, Sasha Banks was injured, out 4 to 6 weeks, also out of the Rumble. Told that it was not going to affect the Rumble or the plans for WrestleMania because her and Charlotte are not penciled in for that. So it's one of those things where, I have my theory on what Sasha's program is going to be for Mania because it has to be decent. But, between Bayley being out, Sasha being out, Asuka, don't know if she's going to be able to return for the Rumble either. They announced all these people on Friday, and we'll get to that. Or actually, today's Friday? No, yesterday's Friday. I don't know what day it is anymore. This women's division, given the cuts and now given the injuries, they're going to be scraping by for 30 women, I think.
Well, I heard that they told Mickie James to pack her trash bag and get on the soonest flight.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we get to Friday. Yeah, maybe
couldn't even get the joke out.
Oh wow, jeez. I mean, I said the same thing when they said it's like Vince is out there. All right, she gets eliminated, and we put her in a trash bag. No, Vince, no, we can't do that, Vince. It'd be terrible. But Sasha's a must-see draw for the show. So that's it'll be interesting to see if they put her on TV at least, but I think it's a knee injury. And so we'll see how that goes too. That's going to be knees are funny things, as they say, or as I say. Monday, we get to Raw. Brock is the champ. He comes out. Looks like it's a babyface promo, at least temporarily, with Paul Heyman. I'm not sure anymore, to be honest with you.
Oh, are we coming up on my favorite segment of the show?
Oh, are you going to read about Raw?
Is it time for Chris reads about Raw?
Sure, go ahead.
No, you go ahead and you finish telling me about Brock Lesnar.
Well, I was going to say, hey, there was a fatal 4-way. Bobby Lashley won. So the match that's never been seen is going to be seen again. And there's a ridiculous 3-way for the number 1 contender for the Raw Women's title. Now you can read about Raw.
Okay, so on Monday night, what did we have? We had Otis and Chad Gable in a tag team match here.
Yes.
Okay, I thought
they're the Alpha Academy. They are a tag team, Chris.
No, I know that. They're in a tag team match here. No, I was trying to get the results. I thought I had the results up, but I had a preview instead. As we were talking about before the show, I am kind of run amok by this new F4W rewrite here. Okay, so first the show opens with Paul Heyman welcoming Brock Lesnar to the ring. And Lesnar said that he knew Roman was at home watching the real champion before thanking Heyman for pulling the strings to get him into the WWE Championship match. Have they paid off any of the writing on this, or is this just absolutely incoherent retcon?
It's incoherent retcon.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Then Bobby Lashley, oh wow, he defeats Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Big E to earn a shot at the WWE Championship. Like what I was saying about Big E, because I watched day one. Like this is bad. This is embarrassing. All right, next we get Chad Gable and Otis defeating RK Bro via pinfall. Oh wow, okay, that's exciting. Otis hits Riddle with the front slam, and then Otis and Gable attacked before the match, and after Gable says that he's going to defeat RK Bro. They're not going to beat RK Bro.
No, they just had to beat him for the number 1 contender because you have to beat your champions to make them look weak.
Yeah. Oh, and that now Reggie and Dana Brooke are a tag team, so we are finally we're finally doing intergender, Hawkins. We're doing intergender. This is gonna be fun. Reggie and Dana Brooke defeat Tamina and Akira Tazawa. That's a hot team. Reggie hit Tazawa with a flipping senton. And the stipulation is that the 24/7 championship was on the line during the match.
Yes.
Wow.
Dana Brooke is your historic 24/7 champion.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean,
Okay.
I know she's the champion.
I read. Okay, good.
I read about this show. Thanks, Hawkins. I never miss a week. Bianca Belair and Liv Morgan interrupt a Becky Lynch promo. I'm assuming Lynch was sort of brutally overshadowing both Liv Morgan and Bianca Belair and not making Liv Morgan look good at all during this.
She's doing her Elton John routine / Seth Rollins routine. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So Liv Morgan, we're just done with her. Okay, that's cool. Then we get Carmella and Queen Zelina defeating Nikki Ash and Rhea Ripley. I'm assuming that this is just building to the Rhea Ripley breakup.
You think, but it's taken a while.
Yeah, you think. You're right. Maybe they remain friends. How touching.
I'm guessing one eliminates the other in the Rumble.
Oh, you're right. I bet you Rhea finally eliminates Nikki in the Rumble to try to maybe Rhea ends up winning the Rumble. Maybe that's how we're gonna try to get Rhea's heat back.
Okay.
That's exciting. Street Profits defeat Apollo Crews and Commander As Is via pinfall. Cool.
Profits and RK Bro had a pretty good match at day one.
Yes, they did. Aziz, I think is pretty green still.
Yeah.
And they haven't really done anything with them. Like, I love Cruz, and the Street Profits and Cruz are all good, but like, you're really having to cover up for Aziz. Damian Priest defeats Dolph Ziggler via pinfall. Okay. So the stipulation here is that he had no champion's advantage because he has a temper. Wow.
Are you done yet? Are we there?
No, we're not. We're not done yet. We got Edge and Beth Phoenix challenging The Miz and Maurice. Can't wait. Omos defeats AJ Styles with a choke bomb. They don't have the time on this match, but I bet you it was like 3 minutes and 50 seconds or some crap.
This is the dumbest feud, Chris, because
Omos cannot wrestle.
Well, not just that, but they've now reversed the positions. Whereas AJ was obviously going to be the heel coming out of this, and Omos the big baby face, and now they've switched them. AJ's now the baby face after talking crap to Omos all those weeks.
Yeah, he's belittling him the entire time and saying he was like the brains of the team.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing with this show, and this is why I read about Raw and I don't watch it, is this show insults your intelligence for watching it or paying attention to it more closely. And that actually you get rewarded the less closely you pay attention to the product.
Just shut up and watch.
You can, well, no, it's like not even that. Shut up and watch sometimes when you know that there's going to be some decent action in the ring. Because if you try to watch it too much, you might actually start to understand the story and then you'll start to hate it. What you need is to just kind of catch it on a fluke night where they have a good wrestling match on the off chance.
Yep. Also, Monday night, Tuesday morning in Japan, Wrestle Kingdom. New Japan's WrestleMania night one. Not doing buy one, get one free. Shibata returned to the ring, changed the stipulations of his grappling match to include strikes. So he did a full-on pure wrestling match a couple years after having to retire due to brain issues. Interesting. I hope he stays safe. But this was a fun match. This was, a lot of chops, a lot of hits. I just don't push it. That's all I ask.
Here's what I think Shibata should do. If he is back and he's good to go, it is time to do the America run. AEW and the legend that is Katsuyori Shibata over in the United States, especially with the proper presentation and showing sort of his like heyday, 2013, 2014, some of those G1 classics. I think that he's just like tailor-made to be the silent imported assassin to AEW. Perfect title defense for Paige. This guy is just gunning for him for like 4 weeks, 8 weeks. He could basically do the thing that they were trying to do with Danielson that was kind of hit and miss. You could have Katsuyori Shibata be that silent assassin, the man with the golden gun chasing after Adam Page. I think the time is right for him to come over here and work the American style that's a little bit safer and a little bit less demanding.
Also, Katsuchika Okada defeated Shingo Takagi for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. He will move on tomorrow night to face one Will Ospreay. So that happened as well. Other than those matches, I won't watch the rest of the card, to be honest with you, but those two matches were very, very good, I thought. We go to Tuesday.
It's a real shame, though, because like Wrestle Kingdom card should be...
Yes.
Yeah.
But they weren't allowed to cheer. They're only allowed to clap. very weird and stilted to watch it as well, because they don't want germs spreading. So you can politely clap, but you can't really cheer, which doesn't make for a good wrestling crowd, to be honest with you.
Yeah, right. I think the science of that is sound. I think the execution of that is weird.
Tuesday, Jake Atlas officially signed with All Elite Wrestling. Just for it to go wrong on Wednesday, which we'll get to in a moment. But when he was signed, I said this. They originally were going to make him a big part of AEW, and he chose to go WWE because it was his dream. That said, if he can, we watched him in 205 and we watched him in NXT, and occasionally there were flashes of a great promo out of him. If he can pull that out of him, he's already then better than three of the pillars they have now. Because while Sammy, Darby, and Jungle Boy all have credibility with the crowds, Jungle Boy has the entrance with Baltimora. Sammy has had the program with Jericho. He's a Spanish God. He has the credibility from the Inner Circle feud.
And he has the signs. The signs are good, but they're also not a promo. That's not enough.
Yes. And then Darby's more of a presence than anything else. When he opens his mouth, he becomes less interesting. And he's teaming with Sting. And he's a daredevil.
Sting is covering up a lot of Darby's shortcomings. And it's a wonderful pairing for that reason. But when you talk about someone as a pillar, it's sort of like saying they're a champion without the belt. That there's like their essential itness is so much so that, their programs are always main eventy, and Darby Allin's inability to do the promo and have to get by on the running joke of the student art films, I think is a problem. I think it's a shortcoming.
We'll talk Atlas once we get to Friday, but yeah, I think he's behind MJF definitely, and he's also behind Britt Baker right now. He would be a solid 3 if he get, because he also cut some dreadful promos in NXT. But they were the scripted kind. So we'll see what he can do. You give him a little leeway here to see what he can do. But his presence on Friday, to me, was positive. Let's put it that way. He comes off as a star in there. But before that, we get to that, NXT ran New Year's Evil on Tuesday night. Fascinating show that basically killed off the black and gold brand forever, I think. Braun Breaker, your new NXT champion, defeating Tommaso Ciampa, symbolically kicking through the old symbol for NXT on his way to the ring. Not really. It wasn't subtle at all. Let's put it that way. Dad Rick Steiner in the crowd.
Doing it on New Year's Eve, no less, just to make sure that like New Year's Day was a new chapter.
Well, this was New Year's Evil. So this was on January 2nd. No, 3rd or 4th.
Yeah, no, I get you. But yeah.
Yeah, that was a fun match. Imperium versus Riddle and TMK was a lot of. Walter is a welcome presence in this NXT, as he will be anywhere he goes. But my God, Imperium as a 3-man unit is so much fun.
They're wonderful. It just feels like it's weird because they even feel like anathema to this goofy NXT era. Like they just don't fit in a world of Joe Gacy's and Harlan's and Andre Chases.
I thought the Roderick Strong Carmelo Hayes match was fun too. I mean, Melo's still raw and Roddy helped him through there. Was a little shocked at the ending. I mean, I thought they might give it to Roddy to carry because I think Diamond Mine is a fairly strong stable to have there, but there's something there. Although Trick Williams overuses the level 4 oh my God face way too much at times.
There are things I like about Trick Williams, but it's all got to be tamed and tempered still.
Yes, he's a raw material that still needs to be formed in some way. The women's triple threat, the less said the better. I thought it stunk. I did. Cora Jade had no reason to be in there, but man, I thought they were going to do it. I thought they were going to give her the title when I was watching that because there was
I think it's honestly a mistake not to, not because I think she's ready, but because the way you're utilizing her and the fact that it's NXT and like whose line is it anyways, the points don't matter. Go ahead, just put the belt.
It's interesting that Mandy Rose is considered quote unquote new, even though she's a veteran person in this division now. But she's the last person standing out of all those, which is weird. I mean, you could say
and it's not
Imperium's
like
been
she's
around.
like this veteran hand
Yes,
to
yeah.
carry. That's the thing that's weird. I mean, I get she's closer than new in the sense that she really probably does need to be down there to be developed out a little bit. It just, I'm kind of with you. I would have had Roderick Strong as the North American champion to at least have the veteran mid card anchor to carry these other guys who are still kind of developing out to nice long form matches. That seems to make more sense to me than Mandy Rose.
Yeah, just she's trying though. Mandy had the helicopter, and I'm yeah, okay. Wrestle Kingdom Night 2 happened later that night. Okada retaining his IWGP Heavyweight title by beating Will Ospreay. Story of the night though, coming out of it: Tanahashi and Kenta's hardcore match. Kenta leaving with a dislocated left hip, a broken nose, tendon damage, and severe lacerations. My God, this guy also can't catch a break. But this match was insane and almost unnecessary in many, many ways. And God bless Kenta for going through with it. But he's going to be on the shelf for a while.
It's wild how beat up this guy has gotten. And I mean,
Tanahashi did a high fly flow from an 11-foot ladder through a table that Kenta was on. Just insane.
I mean, how many more matches do you think Kenta's got in him? Just like it looks like he doesn't know how to go any other way than this.
Yeah. Oh, sure, I'll do that. Yeah, he's gonna be on the shelf for a while. It took him out of the Night 3 Wrestle Kingdom multi-tag matches, which were set up on this show, as well as Muta and his Noah Army came in to announce their presence. Muta's looking every bit his age these days, so I feel kind of bad for him.
Muta's been looking okay. It is not fair to say Muta was looking his age 10 years ago, because 10 years ago Muta looked 60.
Yes.
And so that would have been unfair. Now he is 60 and he looks 60. You're right.
Yeah. Wednesday is when things got interesting, because here comes the news and the cuts. Matt Striker gone from Impact play-by-play. Think this is more or less of a win. Look, I liked Matt Striker when he first started in WWE, and then someone started coaching him, and then he started kind of going into business for himself. And be it Lucha Underground,
Lucha Underground. I got a lot of Striker, and I got a real strong taste of this dude. There are things that Striker can do well, and then there is Matt Striker has the Pat McAfee issues, only he's a commentary guy. And so he'll get distracted and he'll start talking about random stuff when he's not interested in the match. And it's from the play-by-play position. And therefore it's more glaring. Like, I remember one time I was watching Lucha Underground and Matt Striker brought up the planet Nibiru. The planet Nibiru. I will never forget this, Jeff. The planet Nibiru, the hoax planet from the early 20th centuries, particularly around like the 1930s or so. People thought that there was a planet known as Nibiru out there. I don't know why I remember Matt Striker talking about this on Lucha Underground. Many more important things in my life have happened, but I will always remember that. And Matt Striker was doing play-by-play on that day, so he should have been calling arm drags and not alternate names for Pluto.
Meanwhile, over at NXT in Orlando, they started cutting people the night after a show that mostly got heavy praise. If you're Triple H, gotta be a little bit bummed out, because these were mostly targeted at you, sir. On the performer side, Timothy Thatcher, Danny Burch, both cut. Hideki Suzuki, aka Hachiman of Diamond Mind, also cut. He was a trainer. In the trainer field, Scott Armstrong, trainer of the referees, Road Dogg Brian James cut. Ace Steel, Dave Kapoor, who is beloved on the writing teams of all the brands. He was as close to his head of creative as he could get. Ryan Katz, the promo guy for NXT, and William Regal. Oh, in addition, Allison Danger, Kathy Carino, whose child started a new school that very day. Just, if you want to read a nice rant, go read Lenny Leonard's thoughts on Allison Danger, Kathy Carino being cut. But when you look at it, here's the issue. The referee trainer was cut, the promo trainer was cut, and the women's trainer was cut from NXT. Who's teaching them these days? In addition, I had a few people drop into my DMs just giving nothing but praise for Dave Kapoor and his work and being the real glue of that, of not only the NXT writing team, but the main roster writing team when he was, he was as close to running creative as you got post Stephanie McMahon. So just some interesting, and Regal, of course, Regal with his vast knowledge and veteran hand and, confidence and just guiding a lot of these indie guys into the quote unquote, look at the hard cam type of training that they get here. But still, I mean, look, the guys who came from the indies had to learn some TV style. So, I mean, it's not, if I'm Triple H, I'm like, dude, just give me my cubicle and I'll go sit there for 8 hours a day. You can pay me. Just don't ask me to do anything for you.
Yeah, I'd even see if you could get a do your work from home sort of gimmick, because it's pretty clear that they don't actually want him to really do his work from the office, and see if you can get one of those gimmicks and start planning what your next chapter is going to be business-wise, because it's not going to be in WWE. They're never going to execute your vision. That being said, Hunter's vision, I think in a lot of ways is sound. I think that we saw in the last decade that when Hunter gets to do his thing, Bayley Sasha, that NXT takeover, it's a pretty enjoyable wrestling product that appeals.
There were people on the main roster begging to go to NXT.
Yes. And I think that Paul Levesque, if he had his own wrestling promotion, I would be very interested in seeing what he came up with. And I think there are a lot of people who would feel the same way I do, where they want something different from WWE. AEW is nice, but AEW also leaves room for another competitor or another flavor in the market. And Paul Levesque's NXT of the mid-teens was quite good, and I would like more of it.
That NXT single-handedly built the WWE women's division right now on the main roster.
And they're still basically living off of that.
Yes.
I mean, if they didn't have Bayley, Sasha, and Charlotte, and Becky, they'd have nothing. They'd have nothing.
Correct. I'd include Asuka in that as well.
They'd be as bad. And that's another NXT Hunter era as well. Yes. So they would basically have the worse than the Omega AEW women's division.
They'd have Natty and they'd have Tamina. Those are the only two non-NXT people that went through that entire process.
And yeah, Natty can do a 20-minute match, but like we would now be on, like Natty would now be on like her 17th title reign, and we'd all hate her because she still can't do a promo.
Yeah, and the Ryan Katz and Road Dogg and Scott Armstrong cuts had to be, and even Regal, because Regal and Triple H are tight. I mean, Triple H went to bat for him when Regal was having substance abuse problems and things like that. So, I mean, it was, those are all a message to Triple H. And in a non-AEW world, we'd still have a great NXT, I think, in many ways, even with some of these new kids.
I mean, I think they have been demobilizing Hunter's vision of NXT
for a while.
And it's, I mean, like, look, when the AEW Wednesday Night Wars started, it wasn't like they actually wanted to go to war with Hunter's army, right? Like, they didn't want to actually execute General Hunter's battlefield plan.
They basically wanted Bruce Pritchard to go in there and run the army. And
sort of like noodle around, like kind of dibble and dabble around, like that first general.
It will not shock me if Bruce Pritchard is sent down to the PC to just run NXT with his former health issues and things like that. I could see that happening. Meanwhile, over on TBS, the debut of Dynamite to 1,010,000 viewers. Pretty good number from there. We had the Brian Page rematch. Did not go to a draw, so neither Mark Henry nor Big Show got a chance to turn heel and ask for a title shot, much like Terry Funk at Music City. Was it?
I want
Wrestle
Jerry
War
Lynn
'89.
to do that. I want Jerry. Yeah, Jerry Lynn. Jerry goes for the title. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Jade Cargill defeating Ruby Soho in what appeared to be almost a babyface shine type of presentation for Jade Cargill. Got to talk about this for a second after I get through the last one. And then the Jurassic Express and the Lucha Brothers. Jungle Boy finally getting a title reign here as part of the new AEW Tag Team Champs. Ray Phoenix at the end of the match, completely unnecessary table bump, ends up dislocating his arm. I thought for sure he had broken it, but luckily he hasn't, but we'll see what kind of tendon damage and things like that. Just a dumb thing there where Alex Abrahantes goes insane for some reason and starts pulling a table out. And then you had that weird ending where all the tag teams come out and half of them are looking bored in the audience. It just, when you should be putting over, this is a debut on Dynamite. You should have put over Paige Strong. You should have put over your women's champs Strong here with vignettes and things. You should have put over your tag team champs Strong and just have them celebrate and enjoy that, as opposed to, hey, here's all the other members of the tag team division in AEW. Now, let me go to my one thing, because I'm putting this out there as a possibility, Chris, and you can walk me back if I've gone over the line here. They showed Jade Cargill's daughter this entire time. Is it possible that this was a shot at the Big Swole interview where she was talking about her daughter not being able to see Black Excellence as a champion? I don't want to be that cynical, but Chris?
I mean, if that's the case, I don't know that the daughter saw that, but they definitely saw their mother have a title match.
Look, this whole presentation, she came out in the Storm outfit from the X-Men. She's a family person. What the hell was this presentation of your monster heel?
It's super baffling, and to have Ruby Soho, who's like hardcore fan favorite, go. I mean, everything about this is so weird. I knew that they wanted to belt Cargill. That was the plan here, but like I think they're gonna have real troubles with her when it comes to. There's gonna just be so many smoke and mirrors in every one of her matches because Ruby so had to kill herself to make Cargill look good.
Oh yeah. And there. I mean, look, Jade. God bless her. Like I said, we're not workers, but she never put her shoulders flat on the mat for any of those pins. I'm watching that. I'm going, that's just basic 101 stuff. You could see the end, that avalanche. I don't know what her finisher's called. I forgot what it was. Is it called the Jaded? Is that what it is? Something to that effect. But you could see like Ruby trying to position herself, and then they do it, and they do a quick cutaway because it didn't land exactly correctly, and it was just they were trying to do a lot here, and I think simple storytelling would have worked a little bit more. Jade can't do 20-minute matches either. So how quickly do you get the belt off of her?
This is what I'm saying when we're talking about some of these other discussions about who should or shouldn't be champion, who should or shouldn't be getting pushes. The conversation starts with, is this person someone who is ready today, January 8th, or whatever day it is, to be carrying 30-minute matches, 20-minute matches, where more often than not they're the best person in the ring, and like Jade Cargill is so obviously not. And you have to put a whole bunch of stuff around her to make her feel like an upper echelon act. She's the Ultimate Warrior, and the Ultimate Warrior's got a place, but the Ultimate Warrior's place is as a fast attraction in the middle of the show that we enjoy those 7 or 8 minutes and they're exciting and zippy. And then we go to the actual steak dinner.
Yes. That's a pretty good analogy there. Then later that night during the Rampage tapings, Jake Atlas injures his knee in a match against Adam Cole.
Do you want to do anything about Paige and Danielson, the end of the program?
Oh yeah, I liked this. I liked this match. I didn't love it.
Didn't love it. Yeah. That's
I
exactly
thought
where it was too.
look, they wanted to make the story about headbutts, which makes me a little bit queasy with Daniel Bryanson involved, or Brian Danielson. God dang it. Brian Danielson involved. I didn't think the blood was earned. I gotta be honest with you. I think they went to, and look, if you're a TV exec and you're watching this between the Phoenix injury and the Brian and the Page Brian match, are you getting a little squeamish?
And then also like last week, the bunny and all of that, the street fight with all the I am
That was
with
late
you.
night though. That was 10 p.m. I could get that.
I get that, but then I think that's also of a piece. Like
Yeah.
I get that you can go that's at 10 p.m. Okay, but like you guys keep doing these like violence angles in ways that don't necessarily like they feel like you're doing them to do them and then trying to justify them in reverse rather than like sort of getting there.
I mean, the story of the Page Brian match was that Brian Danielson had lost so much blood he couldn't stand up straight for when the buckshot lariat came out. That's tiptoeing some things, especially also the history of TBS wrestling, where Dusty Rhodes was fired for putting blood on the screen. I mean, look, we've evolved somewhat. You can now say the F word on basic cable after a certain point at night. I get that.
Progress has finally been made.
But is this the debut show you want necessarily? I mean, because look, blood brings in the dudes and turns off the women. And I know that demographics
not the ones
are
I date.
Oddly enough, not the ones I've dated either, because they all, I want to see that Japanese barbed wire exploding. What? I don't watch that every week. What are you talking about? But yeah, I liked this match. I didn't love it. I liked the first one a lot more.
Yeah, and this program at the end of it just sort of left me cold. I get that it's like, I guess, Danielson wanted the judges. You didn't want to do a judge decision, and that would have been ultimately...
They were red herring.
Right.
There was no need for them.
No, I get that they were a red herring. I mean, but like the problem with that as a red herring too is that if you're sort of narratively working this from reverse, the only way that it would have really worked at all is if Danielson had somehow won the title by judge's decision.
Yeah.
And like it was this grave injustice or whatever. That like he actually managed to win it on points, and that was the start of the Danielson title reign. You didn't see that coming. I think the problem with this program is what I said up front is that Danielson, for his part as a heel, it worked sometimes, it didn't work sometimes. In terms of a guy chasing for the title, you never, ever, ever believed that Adam Page was in any real trouble, which is why they found themselves going to all these gimmicks like the blood and all that other stuff to sort of cover up for the fact that the actual program didn't have any real intrigue and like heel. Here's the other thing too with these challengers. I think the mind needs to be able to actually imagine like what the challenger as champion would be like. And heel Bryan Danielson as champion just never had any real intrigue.
Yeah.
In terms of like, I'm not saying like, oh, I'd rather him be a babyface than a heel. I'm saying like, what are the good stories that a heel Bryan Danielson was going to be able to tell with the lay of the land being what it was right now? And there weren't any. And so as such, you never really bite into the program, as it were. This is an unfortunate first title program for Adam Page in the sense that I don't really think he got much. And I think worst of all is that we spent most of the program talking about missteps with Danielson rather than talking about great moments for Adam Page. And all of these programs are really supposed to be vehicles to make Adam Page feel bigger and better. And at the end of it, it was really ultimately about Danielson sort of playing himself.
Yeah, it was basically a makeup because Moxley wasn't around. I thought, oh, one other thing. This MJF Punk feud. I had an argument with my co-host on the other show over at Fight Game Media.
But wait, you got another co-host other than me?
Yeah.
You're cheating on me?
I'm not cheating on you. It's bigamy. It's big of all of us.
Oh, you're Pauly now.
I'm Pauly podcast.
Whatever.
But I do a hot take.
I believe in traditional podcast values. Thanks.
So did I for a long, long time. Got me nowhere. No, I do a hot take show right after Dynamite, and I do this. And my co-host there, Paul Fontaine, did not like this Captain Sean Dean CM Punk thing. To get over it, I thought it was brilliant in that CM Punk, this is obviously kind of like the Pat McAfee, Adam Page thing. Not Adam Page, Adam Cole, where Cole's a jerk. McAfee's still a heel and calling out Cole as the jerk entire time. MJF knows that Punk is a jerk. And so Punk goes in there. He doesn't apologize to Shawn Dean before kicking him in the gut and getting the DQ. He just does the GTS. So he has to be turning heel eventually down the road.
No. Shawn Dean was talking shit to Punk the whole time. Like, hey, you came down here. You interrupted my match. Blah, 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 blah.
No, he didn't. He was talking to MJF to get in the ring.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
I thought he was like...
No, he didn't. No, he didn't talk trash to Punk at all. That's the weird thing. So Punk's going to turn out to be this self-centered jerk. But it's a slow turn, and we're slowly getting to it. I get it. Look, I understand. And like, who was it? Alvarez over at Wrestling Observer was like, why can't the referee see that? Obviously, he doesn't want to do blah, blah, blah. I like the idea of the babyface coming down and giving the heel losses so that he can't qualify for a title fight. I thought it was fun.
No, I had no problem with that. I mean, and honestly, like, I just had no problem with it.
Okay.
I did think that what's his name was talking trash at least.
I'll have to rewatch it, but I thought he was basically egging on MJF to come in the ring and fight.
I thought he was kind of like also being like, hey, why'd you come down here and interrupt my match? Blah 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 blah. Like, I thought there was kind of like this implication that he was sort of acting like he actually had a chance against MJF rather than being realistic that MJF handpicked him because this guy is out of his league.
Reiterating, Jake Atlas injured during the Rampage tapings against Adam Cole. Man, he says he may not need surgery, but that looked like a torn something or other to me. Hopefully he heals quick here. Get to Thursday. We have a couple more NXT releases. Gabe Sapolsky, the ex-leader of Evolve, and Samoa Joe, who had been working as a scout and also on screen time to time, both released. Boy, if Joe decides he wants to go to AEW, they got some ready-made matches in there for him.
I think a Joe program is super exciting for any number of different people. I think a Joe, Punk, and Danielson faction is a faction that has so much mileage going up against the AEW vice presidents.
Grizzled old veterans. Come on, give it to me.
Yeah. Whoever you want to put them up against, I mean, give me a multi-man with Joe, Punk, and Danielson to close out most weeks on Dynamite, and I'm happy. Any two of those guys in a tag team match, and then you can do trios. And I just think there's so much mileage for Joe. If he's ready to go, I'd love to see him again.
Also, WWE announcing that their next Saudi Arabia show, February 19th.
And that's like the show in between Rumble and Mania, so it might actually have some canon in it now.
Oh no, they did that last time too. I think somebody's getting a title out of this. I think they're going to do that because Saudi Arabia wants their own Mania, and this is going to be their Mania. These are going to be bigger matches, so it will be in canon. It'll be interesting. You know, I'll have it on in the background as I work that day. I'm still somewhat uncomfortable watching it, but we'll see. Get to Friday SmackDown. Women's Royal Rumble participants are announced and Pat McAfee mentioning the Impact Knockouts champion Mickie James will be part of the Royal Rumble. Chris, the forbidden door is open and it goes through Impact Wrestling.
It's just a beautiful thing, man. To see Mickie back in WWE, she was treated like a star the last time around. They took care of her.
I almost spit my drink, you son of a bitch.
Take care of her on screen, off screen. Yeah. So I can't wait.
Oh God, yes. Boy, I hope she leveraged them for money. I do.
And you know what? Here, I will say this. You nerds on the internet who are like, I can't believe Mickie James is crawling back to WWE. It's a paycheck for 1 day.
It's a big paycheck for 1 day.
It's a big paycheck for 1 day of the year. And if you had that big paycheck for 1 day of the year, you'd hold your pride in one hand, and then you'd hold the check in the other, and you'd go, see you, pride? I'll take this money.
Yeah, no, I asked, is Mickey, did Vince know if Mickey is still is employed now? And they said yes. So it was one of those things. I was kind of wondering if they're reaching out there. Look, if I'm them, if I'm Impact, I say, hey, let her eliminate a couple of people before you get rid of her. And then, it's weird.
At least then you get the footage of showing Mickey James on WrestleMania. I do actually think that's useful.
Yeah, because let me put something in perspective for people who were talking about how great the AEW Impact relationship was. Twice as many people watch SmackDown every week as they do Dynamite. So twice as many people know that Mickey James is the Impact Knockouts champion than knew that Kenny Omega at any time had a title in Impact, probably. So there, purists, take that. And we had a pretty good tag team street fight. Again, the Usos and the New Day can't do any wrong. Although I didn't see any point to this.
That's the thing is they can't do any wrong, but like Usos and New Day, it's fine. But I can't keep seeing it every week. Like at this point, once or twice a year, dope. Twice a month, no thanks.
As we get into now Rampage, Dustin Rhodes was announced on Rampage as the interim TNT champion for Battle of the Belts on Saturday. We're already doing interim titles. It's like the UFC again. It's interesting, I guess. I just would have done a match, to be honest with you, but it's Battle of the Belts. Chris, any thoughts here?
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah,
but it's weird. I'm sure they'll find a way to bring it back around. I guess the only thing about the interim champion thing is you could have Cody have a match against Dustin and like go heel on Dustin.
Well, we know who won the match, so it won't be Dustin. Let's put it that way. Hook and Aaron Solo had a match. Hook, once again, being treated like the killer he is, all 185 pounds of him.
He is a world champion. Shut up.
And my match of the night, 2.0 and Daniel Garcia against Eddie Kingston and Proud and Powerful. This was a fun street fight. These guys love them. I love the Knucklehead crew. 2.0 and Daniel Garcia are great.
Yeah, there's just something about You Want a Taste that like keeps getting funnier and funnier. like that it's like not quite a threat. Like it's their version of a threat, but like it's kind of a goofy threat.
Much better than calling them Pinhead and Squarehead.
Oh
and
God,
Phillip.
Jericho's horrible.
Yes,
like beyond me not wanting to cheer for him as a baby face. Like I'll put all of that stuff in a box. You know, I think it's great that he showed up to work on a big anniversary this week, and I'll put that in a box too. I just think his jokes suck.
They're terrible. He's doing
the worst part is that like he tries to get the crowd to get into them too, and so it's even more Lamesville cringe.
You know what it is? It's purely out of the WWE playbook. Like when The Rock would come back and try and get over like Rudy Tooty Booty or whatever it is.
There's that, but it's almost close to Suffer and Succotash.
Succotash. It's very close to that. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But yeah, no, that was a fun little Rampage show. And we finally get to today, Saturday. Started the morning interesting. Impact getting filling in their void at play-by-play guy by hiring Tom Hannafin, aka Tom Phillips, ex of WWE. I think this is a pretty good hire. I always liked Tom Phillips.
I think this is an upgrade. I think Tom, when he's good, is real good.
I'll talk about him a little bit in a second, but first we get to Battle of the Belts, which is just, boy, when they announced Battle of the Belts, I thought it was a big-time type of show. And it just turned out to be a placeholder. Something to counter-program, maybe against Hard to Kill. Do you need some time off to go get the cat?
No, she just needs to not groom her hot spot. She's giving herself bald spots again. I'm trying to be a responsible cat father, Hawkins. But as you can see, the disciplined usage of the snap is all it takes to bring order to an otherwise unordered world.
Yeah, let's put it this way on this Battle of the Belt show. One belt was an interim title. One belt was an imaginary title that's not in canon. And then you had the women's title, which I think was also part of the point. You're programming against football, and I guess they just wanted to make their women's division the star of the show. But anyways, your results here. Sammy Guevara is the interim TNT champ, so I assume we're going to have a unification bout somewhere down the road. Decent match, nothing to write home about. I thought Dustin was very, very good here. Then you had Ricky Starks taking on who did he fight for the God, I already forgot here. Who did he fight for the FTW title and beat? Oh, Matt Sydal. He beat Matt Sydal.
Right, like as though Sydal was ever going to beat Starks.
Right, and then they set up a Dante Martin program afterwards. Looks like the interim title might be another belt that's being defended elsewhere, though, while the real TNT belt is out because they don't know how long he's going to be out. But Daniel Garcia came in, started business with Sammy Guevara. I think that's going to be fun.
I think it's going to be really fun. I mean, look, Daniel Garcia is a guy who they had that little like hot moment with earlier last year or like towards the end of last year. And I think this is a guy who this year, we need to get him into title programs. And he is a guy who would actually benefit from a title chase where you don't necessarily think he's going to win the belt, but he has a good match and just delivers when it comes time for the bell to ring. So I think that this is a great year for Daniel Garcia and this Guevara program. So it's a step in the absolute direction I'd put him.
And then Britt Baker, DMD, defended her women's title against Riho in what was a pretty darn good match. I'm not the biggest Riho fan in the world, but this was pretty good. Far too many, though, Jamie Hayter, Rebel antics again. They're still continuing to build this split between Jamie Hayter and DMD. Just get to it, guys. Just get to it already. Let Britt stand on her own as a heel and cut some promos. But that was a pretty uneventful battle of the belts. At the same time, Hard to Kill, Impact's first event of the year was going on. Thought Tom Phillips was a very good play-by-play guy. I got to watch most of this. Speedball Bailey added to the four-way. It's nothing but a positive for me. I like Mike Speedball Bailey a lot. He does a Karate Kid type gimmick, high flyer. That was fun. The Knockouts X Division or Ultimate X match over Impact is the place to go for women's wrestling in the States right now. They are just on another level. This Knockouts X Division or Ultimate X match was insane. Much like you saw the women really try and put it out there with the first women's War Games match, and even Bailey and Sasha at Brooklyn. When good women are given a chance to shine, they'll go insane trying to shine. I mean, and that just even goes back to the street fight from last week. I mean, they were insane and doing Jordan Grace doing spots from the ropes. And so it was really, really good. That was Tasha Steelz, I believe, won that one. And then also in the main event, the women main evented this event, Mickie James indeed retaining her Impact Knockouts title. So she will be taking that to the Rumble. Maybe they'll show it. Maybe they'll allow her to take it versus Deonna Purrazzo in a Texas death match. These two, we had chairs, we had thumbtacks, we had a guitar spot on the former who's the guy who used to sing for Rusev Day?
Oh, Aiden English.
Yeah, his name's Matt I forgot the last name, but he's helping the second Deonna here. The rest of the show wasn't too bad, but the women really brought it here. And I thought Tom Phillips and Ian Riccoboni in the Jonathan Gresham Ring of Honor title match or pure match. I think it was. I don't know if it was the title or the pure, but the other main storyline coming out of this is it looks like they're going to be doing a Ring of Honor invasion angle of sorts as Vincent, PCO, and OGK, Matt Taven, and the guy who blocked me, Maria and Mike Bennett all showed up to interfere in a match. And Roxy also was in the audience for the women's match. So it looks like there's gonna be some heavy Ring of Honor involvement with Impact going forward, at least for the next couple months.
Sounds good. I didn't see it, so
that's fine. No, I just wanted to say that. But this was a heavy week of wrestling. Hopefully next week will be a little lighter. Can really dig into it, but
sort of necessarily so. It would have to be, right?
Yes, unless I don't want to jinx it, so I don't want to say anything completely negative about something happening to somebody or something like that. But
let's not go that way.
Let's not go there. So we'll end it here. This has been Shake Them Ropes. I am Crap Game 13 on Twitter. Chris is at DWATG. You can just follow the show at Shake Them Ropes. We are part of the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network. Chris also does a Patreon. He's going to tell you about now.
Yeah, don't worry about the government. We'll be taping some more shows here later this month. As for this week, if you were in the Dallas area and you want to come see me play out live, Withered Blooms is playing Friday night at Amplified Live out here in Dallas, Texas. Tickets are $12, $15 at the door. If you're in Dallas and you have been listening to me talk about wrestling, in this case, for years and years and years, and you've always heard me allude to playing guitar, or sometimes occasionally half-assedly playing guitar on this show here, like my favorite jam, Four Non-Blondes.
No.
So you go and get your tickets for Friday night, and Jeff Hawkins, we're gonna play the some crap like that. What's going on? What's going on is you can see Withered Blooms at Amplified Live, and you can listen to Don't Worry About the Government on iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, patreon.com/DWATG. I love you people. And I want to say one last thing, Hawkins. I am dedicating this show today in loving memory of Cody. He's fine, but I forgot what he looks like and what he sounds like, so I'm dedicating the show to his memory.
What's going on?